Soul Disconnected podcast, the platform designed to reconnect us, bring us back to a common ground to understand one another. Open about our flaws and failures, focused on growth and positivity. The flame in the dark that burns in our soul. Yeah. Check. You're now tuned in to Soul Disconnected podcast. This is episode 14, Helping Heal the Future with Jennifer Alvarez-Cardenas. Hello.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you.
It's good. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for inviting.
Your husband's in the building. So what's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm having a cup of coffee right now. Getting ready for work later.
You're going to get your hustle on, right?
Yep.
So what do you do?
I'm a nurse. Brand new nurse, actually. Just graduated last year, the end of last year. Working at the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. And yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Nice. Where are you originally from?
LA, but I moved around a lot when I was little, so I started in LA, then in Monte, then La Puente. It was just...
So you moved around a
lot.
So what was your childhood and teenage years like growing up in all these, like, constantly moving and going to new schools and exploring different places? What was that like?
It was good. I mean, I got to experience a lot of different environments growing up. But, I mean, I grew up, like, in, the typical, like, middle class, like, parents came from Mexico. So it's like, we lived in, like, I guess you could say, like, poorer areas.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. I mean, I can honestly say I had, like, a really good childhood growing up. My parents were very strict on me, but yeah, it was like I had a good childhood.
And you have siblings, right?
Yeah, I have 2 older sisters, the
Nice.
youngest.
You used to get bullied?
Apparently, I was the brat to them.
You used to
I
bug
don't
them?
think so, but yeah, I have 2 older sisters.
Nice.
But
How were they to you?
I was closest with my older sister, and then once she got married, I got closer to my middle sister.
Mm-hmm.
We there's like a big gap difference between our ages. Like
Mm-hmm.
the oldest is like 13 years older than me, and then the middle one's 6 years older than me. So there's always that gap,
Mm-hmm.
But we always found like a common ground where we had similar likes. Like one of them was basketball, so. We would, or like any sport really, we would get out there, and even with my dad, like he would always like to play with us, and yeah, we'd go to the park and just play sports, stay active.
What's your favorite sport?
Basketball.
And you would play that young too?
Yeah.
And all your
Yeah, that
sisters
was
would play that, right?
Yeah. In an actual team, my middle sister and myself actually played in an actual team, but the older one, she would just play for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And were you guys real competitive when you play?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Biting, scratching, all that?
No, none of that. No need. No need for that.
So, how many years of basketball did you play?
I mean, I started playing very young, just in the street, with random people, random guys, with my sister too. I was like maybe, I don't know, 10, 11 when I started playing. And I played during middle school and high school. Yeah.
Nice. What position did you play or prefer to play?
I was a shooter.
Shooter.
So, yeah. Dropping those 3 points on you.
Steph Curry with the shot, boy. So, how many years of schooling did it take you to become a nurse, actually?
Oh, my gosh. So since
I know it was like a journey, right?
It's been a journey, for sure. I started college back in 2012, and I originally wanted to go to medical school, but then somewhere along the way, my career goal changed to nursing.
Mm.
And so, I mean, it's still in the medical field, it's still you would think like the same thing, but there's different classes to both. So, then I guess nursing, I started in 2000, what was it? 16? Yeah. Because I wanted to go, there was this private school that I wanted to go to, but it was kind of a bit to pay for. So I just ran out of there and did community college classes to get some of the prerequisites out of the way. And then I went back. So, but yeah, since 2012, that's when I started my
And you went to
college
quite a
journey.
few schools though, right? Like in
Yeah.
between that.
Yeah, because of the same reason. Like I started at UCR, and then with the goal of medical school. But then when I changed to nursing, and I wanted to go to West Coast University, which is a private, but then it was too expensive. So then I started going to Fullerton College. Because it was close to my current job in La Habra. I worked at a clinic. So it was just an easier drive for me to commute from work, like after school in the morning, go to work, or vice versa. Like if I was at work and then during my lunch, I'd go to a class, or just, just like working around my
Your
schedule.
yeah.
Yeah, I went to Fullerton College. I took one class at Mount Sac in Walnut. Like it's just crazy. And then and finally started at West Coast University.
And now you're here.
Yeah, and now I'm here.
And where do you said you currently work at the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
How's that?
Yeah.
How's the experience there?
I love it. That's actually where I wanted to work. Like that was like my dream job. That's my dream like my dream job site, So I love it. I mean, I never imagined that I would be there as my first job in nursing.
Yeah, that's
It's
definitely
crazy,
a
but
blessing to get. That's like you're like to walk into nursing and you're already in a position like that.
Yeah, definitely.
What would you say, like career wise or like lifestyle or just everyday life? Like, what's your biggest fear, you think?
My biggest fear are two things, actually. One thing the first one that comes to mind is like losing a loved one, like unexpectedly, whether that be somebody in my family or my husband. That's just always like my biggest fear. We're so close, so I'm like, I can't imagine life with any of them.
Yeah.
Growing up, we grew up so close, and then now with my husband too, I'm pretty close. So, second would probably be losing a patient.
Yeah, that's gotta be intense for sure.
Because it's, somebody else's kid in my hands that they come in here and, trust me and rely on me to take care of their child. And I do my best, but that's just one of my biggest fears.
And
like
you can't guarantee, life's not guaranteed. So it's kind of hard. Like you go in there wanting to guarantee, but you can't guarantee no one anything. And then at the same time, that's a lot of pressure.
Right.
And then it's scary too to just think like to know that like that you potentially could help save someone or like like their fate relies in your hands, but it's pretty scary.
Yeah,
but
intense.
Not a lot of people want that pressure, and then to be able to do that, like it takes a lot. And like I said, not a lot of people even want to go out there and attempt to do that or want to have that pressure on themselves, but it's good because we do need those people in the world, and that's what helps like us keep moving forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you're married. How many years have you been married now?
2 years and a half. It's gonna be 3 in September.
Nice. And that's different, right, for us because it's like we're part of the newer generation and we're married young and we're
trying to figure
pushing
things
on.
out day by day.
Exactly, right? That's all you can do. You got to take it a day at a time and just do you. And everyone trips out, right?
Yeah.
Being younger and being married, like people trip out
at
on
work
me all the time.
Even. They're like, "You're married? Like what?"
They're like, "That's so 2000 and late."
I
know. Do you have any insecurities at all?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, like growing up, my parents were always, like I mentioned already, strict on me. So I was always expected to have good grades and just do good in life overall.
Hmm.
And so when I had my first bump in like college years, that's when where my career goal changed. That's where I feel like I started to have like more insecurities on myself. Like,
Uh-huh.
am I really meant for this? Like, is this really me? But I mean, I couldn't imagine doing anything else in life other than being there for people in their most vulnerable days and just, being able to help.
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah, I definitely have insecurities. I mean, I think we all do, one way or another.
Hmm.
Um, but the important thing is, giving yourself grace and reminding yourself that, it's life and nobody's perfect. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you just, try to be better each day.
That's true.
So,
What could you
yeah.
say, like, once you did start the path of becoming a nurse, like, what could you say, like, truly inspired you to, like, focus in on the books and focus, like, turning your lifestyle to pursuing that? Like, what was your
Hmm.
biggest inspiration for that?
Um, I would have to say my parents. Actually, everything goes back to my parents.
And that's dope. It's dope
Yeah.
that they're that influence for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. My
And
parents just because of the simple fact that like I guess I didn't see like their worst, when they started like going towards the American dream and just like working really hard every day. I didn't see the beginning of it, but I did see some of it
mm,
in my years. So just seeing how hard they've worked their entire lives and not giving up no matter what life threw at them,
mhm.
like that's just what kept me motivated and inspired to
And kept
just
you
keep
from
going.
yeah, and kept you from giving up or getting
Yeah.
uninspired or making excuses or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's the thing about like parents that come from overseas or from other areas, like they
Mhm.
come here and they like double down, and
Mhm.
honestly they take advantage of what we take for granted.
Right.
Being like
Yeah.
American, like we take a lot for granted,
Oh yeah.
and we get
For
lazy
sure.
and we just take advantage of what we do have,
Mhm.
and then or we don't take advantage of the opportunities we have, and then someone else sees that and it's like, well, if you're sleeping on it, then I'm just gonna come up on
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And that's what I admire. I
Mhm.
admire people's hustle that aren't from America but come to
Mhm.
America and they become citizens and they double down or they start businesses and people get upset
I
about
know.
it.
Yeah. It's
But
crazy.
honestly, it's like if you don't want to do the work or educate yourself or learn how to start a business or learn
Mhm.
how to like put yourself in school and educate yourself, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everyone can make a million excuses and everyone could make up all these things, but
Yeah.
if you're not willing to put in the work or sacrifice anything, then
Mhm.
other people are going to come up, and
Yeah.
that's really how it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So how many years of experience do you have in the medical field overall, and how many years do you have experience being a new nurse?
In the medical field, I started in 2011 as a medical assistant. So um, I went to medical assisting school on my last year of high school, so that once I graduated high school, I would also be done with my medical assistant career.
Hmm.
So I would go to after high school, I would go to classes at night for the medical assisting program, and then yeah, I graduated high school in like around June, and then the medical assisting program like 2 months after that.
Nice.
So
And did you
then,
have to be 18 to join
uh,
that school or no?
yes, which I was because I turned 18 on my last year of high school, so it
Oh,
worked
okay.
out fine. Yeah. So I've been a medical assistant since 2011 and then nursing a nurse. Well, I just graduated last year, so I've been a nurse since August of last year. August?
Nice.
Yeah,
That's when
August.
you started working, right?
September.
September.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Dang,
Yeah.
so it's been quite a few months now.
Yeah.
You're coming up to your like probation period, or are you already past that?
I'm done. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
that's
done.
right.
I'm on my own now.
Dang. So
Yeah.
what's that like? Being like fully functional on your own with, no guidance. You're kind of just
Mhm.
doing you. You're taking your
Yeah.
experience and you're like taking a crash course into this now. What's that
Yeah.
like?
It's actually I feel really comfortable. I was nervous on my first day going
Mm-hmm.
on on my own, but at the end of the day, I wasn't alone. Like you still have that guidance, you still have that support from like your coworkers and
Mm-hmm.
your friends around you at work. So everyone in the ED is just so nice and helpful, and they'll just make your day feel better. And they'll just help anyway. Like that's what I love about nursing. You know, you help each other out, like no matter what.
Yeah, that's what you
Even the
do need
smallest
that
thing.
support, because
Right.
sometimes everything could be coming at you at once, and if like
Yeah.
everyone's just like, nah, it's you for yourself, that would really suck.
Yeah.
That's how
No,
my
no.
job is sometimes.
We never I personally haven't experienced that yet. I hope I don't. But
No,
no,
I
yeah.
highly doubt that.
I've already had like a pretty busy zone, like rooms, because we get like 4 patients at a time, and it's been busy, and I've already seen like if I'm busy stuck in a room, then like others take over my other patients and help out. Like it's just it's nice. We
Yeah,
help
that's
each other
good to
out.
have that support system, especially within a work environment, because
Yeah.
it's already hectic, it's high stress. Not that
Right.
you force that on yourself, it's just you go into an environment that you don't know what the heck's gonna happen every day.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just like
Right.
you're on call 24/7. You don't know what the heck's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You did mention like your first day. What was your first day of actually like starting your probational period like? And like you mentioned your first day of actually working on your own. Like, what was the emotion or like the energy you felt? Where it was like a lot of nervousness?
Oh, yes. Yes, way past I yeah.
Like
My
self
very
doubt, or were
first
you just like scared, like you didn't want to like?
not self-doubt, just um the whole idea of like being on the floor and like having lives, on me. Like, well, it wasn't really on me, but it was like because I was precepting with another nurse, but still, it was like my first time, new nurse. Like that was my first job as a nurse, so it was like really intense, especially the emergency department. But slowly but surely, I've come a long way. Like I feel a lot more comfortable now.
And being that you're a nurse, you're usually the first person to contact with any patient, right? And you're like,
Right.
you are the point of contact.
Yes.
And you're to have most of the information, if not all the information on what's going on with each patient that you're in control of, right?
Yeah.
And what is your general role? Like being that you're in the emergency room, what's the general role that you play, and like how important are these roles?
So my role specifically, there's different steps as like where a patient first comes into the emergency department. Like they see the first nurse that's there, which is like your triage nurse. So it's like it kind of they go through like a couple nurses before they get to me. So and those are like the more experienced nurses. So eventually I'll get there. I'll be at the front where you have to really assess the patient and see like how bad are they, do they need the attention right away, or can they wait a little bit? So it really depends on on that. But when they get to me, they're usually already triaged, which means they've already given a number of acuity level, like where they stand. And then we go off of colors, so it depends on whatever color we get. We have to either go to them like quickly, or we have a little bit of time. But yeah, like as soon as I get my patients, I just go in there, introduce myself, and then they let me know. Most of the times the parents, if the kid is still a young kid, but usually the parents will let me know what they're in there for, and and we go from there. Like it really depends. Each case is different. Like it's never the same thing.
Do you get a lot of scared kids, or do the kids like do the kids find comfort in you when you like talk to them, and they get used to you after a while, right?
Right. Yeah, we have like little things here and there that we use as nurses, like for the kids that come in and see us. We like to first like kind of introduce ourselves and play with them a little bit, like get them a little comfortable before we start anything, because unless it's a like really like a emergency, then there's no time for that. But yeah.
What would you say is the most difficult situation you've been in so far, like in your hospital?
I haven't had like a trauma patient yet where they're like really unstable. but I think the the only one that has like gotten to me so far is a patient. It wasn't even a patient of mine. I was covering for a nurse during her break, but I took care of this patient for like 30 minutes during the nurse's break, and he was just not stable, and we were trying everything that we could to make him stable, and any interventions that we would do wouldn't really help. And we got him stable enough to transfer him up to the floor, but then we realized that he had passed once he got up there. So it's not he was indirectly my patient, but you still feel it, like when you hear about,
Not only that, but if you
okay,
came in contact with this person
right,
and you tried doing pretty much everything you could to try to
yeah,
help them, and then they go on their way, and then you hear it, it's kind of
yeah,
like it's a connection at some
right,
point to you. So
yeah, especially
and I
when
was sorry to hear
you
that.
saw the parents too, and you were there like talking to them and trying to reassure them, and
And you can't
it's just
imagine what's
crazy.
going through their head, and sometimes it's
Exactly.
like they want to blame somebody, or they want
Yeah.
to, and it's tough because it's like sometimes these things happen and we have no control over it, and
Mhm.
the first thing we turn to is like being angry and being
Right.
mad, and then wanting to point the finger at someone,
Yeah.
like whether it be negligence or just feel like, oh well, you guys didn't do enough or something. And then
Mhm.
I can only imagine that type of pressure, or those type of people, because sometimes you get people who are understanding, and
Mhm.
it's like really messed up, and it's like, damn, like they're not gonna blame no one. Then there's people who get really upset and want to point fingers or
Yeah.
make accusations and stuff, and that's like you're battling between those two, where it's
Right.
like you're either consulting and being caring for a group of people or a family, and then the other hand they don't want nothing to do with you because they think you're part of the problem, when it
Mhm.
was like a bigger problem already stemming from that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So it's definitely a tough job on
it
both
is.
both sides of it.
It is.
Yeah, but you're doing it. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people are willing
Doing
to
it.
sacrifice and dedicate their time and effort and education to do that, or even, like I said, to help others. It's important. I feel like
Mhm.
that's a big part, especially in this generation, and as things are changing, and the world's evolving. I feel like you
Mhm.
start to see less and less people care, but there's
Yeah.
still a large group of people that care out there. It's just you don't see it as often, and I
Yeah.
feel like people are very like self-absorbed, selfish, and just looking out for themselves, which
Yeah.
is fine if that's what you're into. But I feel like it's bigger than that.
Oh, for
It's bigger
sure.
than us.
Yeah.
Um, what truly motivates you to help others? Like to want to continue to help people, and like what gives you that drive to just help people, even if they're strangers or no one you even ever met before or anything, or they're nothing to you? What motivates you to help others?
Mhm. Um I guess just knowing that how it feels to not have the help, like going back again with my parents, just from experience, like knowing, seeing it firsthand with a close,
Yeah,
a loved one. So like just knowing what that can feel like and what that can be
to
like.
be helpless and
Yeah,
just
to be
like,
helpless, exactly.
and it's not easy when you have to do for yourself all the time.
Yeah.
And then
So
if you can help others, then
yeah, like I'm just hoping that, the more good I can do in the world, like it's like a ripple effect, hopefully. Like hopefully it, inspires others, and others can do the same for, other.
that's why you notice that's why we titled the title of this episode like that, right? Helping heal the future.
There you go.
The catchphrase.
There you go.
If there's anything you could have told your younger self, or maybe you wouldn't, but if there's
Hmm.
anything you could have tell your younger self, what would it be?
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Oh,
You
that's facts right there.
Yeah, don't be so hard on yourself. Like it's it's really hard to your
Biggest critic.
biggest critic and your biggest like everything
You
usually.
judge yourself
Yeah.
the most. Like it's crazy. Like even like embarrassing moments, right? You
Right.
may have like an embarrassing moment, and it rolls off of everyone else's head. They'll laugh at it or
Uh-huh.
say something about you about it, then they forget about it or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll bring it up here and there or whatever, but you are like constantly thinking about that, like, oh,
Oh yeah.
shaking my head like all the time, like always upset and thinking
Except
about it. And
they're
it's
probably not even thinking about it anymore, but you're like over here over
yeah, you don't even want to cross
struggling.
paths with certain people because you're like
Yeah.
they probably remember, you know, and it's like damn, forget
Yeah.
that.
No, yeah.
For anybody
Valid.
listening that would ever be interested in pursuing this career or have an idea or a thought about it, what
Mhm.
could you tell them? What kind of advice could you give them about wanting to pursue this or something similar in this field to help people or to nurse or to get in the medical field? What kind of advice
Yeah.
could you give them?
I feel like when you know, you know. Like like when you think you want to pursue like the medical field, like overall the medical field is just helping with healing and just like being there for, people in their most vulnerable times. So, I don't think there's ever like oh, I don't know, like if I do want to go into that field, like when you know, you just know already. And so I would say just man, stick through it cuz it's hard. It's I have friends who are going to medical school too and friends in nursing school, and it's definitely hard. It requires a lot of sacrifices, and you're going to have a lot of ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
And I'm
them.
sure that you had moments where you're like
So,
breaking down and you want to
oh,
just like walk
yeah.
away from everything,
For
right?
sure, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like
But
that's the hardest part about it is like you get to like these peaks where it's like everything's good, like you
yeah.
got a good schedule going down, you got like everything on a time basis and you feel like you're ahead of the
Oh yeah.
game and then next thing you know like you're coming downhill fast, you're going in hot and
Yeah.
everything's like kind of out of control and you don't know how to get a grip on things and then you
Mhm.
just feel like screw this.
I think it's harder too when you have an expectation of yourself too, like, oh, I'm going to finish by this time, or, or by this date or whatever, and it's like sometimes life happens, man, and it's just like you can't you there's nothing you can do about it. You just roll with it. Like just keep swimming, like Dory says. I love that quote.
Nice.
Yeah, just I would just say keep going. Don't give up because it's very what's the word? Um
Rewarding.
Very rewarding and fulfilling once you reach the end. Like
Nice.
it really does remind you like, okay, this is why, follow this path. This is why I wanted to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now in this career?
I do want to further my education actually. I like bedside nursing, so I'm like still thinking about that. Like, do I want to further my education? Because if I further it, then that means less time with the patient, and I really do like that interaction.
I see Joseph with a bell. Ring, 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 ring. Bedside. Going to help him by his bedside.
No, yeah, but I definitely see myself, I mean, probably a one kid by then, maybe two, who knows?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
two.
Traveling.
Whatever, I don't know.
He's like, I'm ready for as many she wants.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really good though, and I'm really happy for you, and I'm
Thank
happy
you.
for you guys because you guys, like I've told you guys before, both like you guys inspire me to keep doing what I'm doing, and it gives me hope because some days I'm just like in my head and I'm just like I don't know what I should do, but then obviously Ashley, my wife, she gets inspired too, and we're all kind of like just chasing all this together, and seeing it, and it's kind of like I don't know, it's like a rubber band, like you pull it and it's like I don't know, it's like a bungee cord or something, like you just keep tugging at it and it's like coming back and forth and where everyone's just kind of getting vibes off each other to keep staying motivated and not get uninspired because everyone's been at the same point one way or another.
Right.
At the bottom or in the middle or feeling good or feeling down. It's just it's a roller coaster ride of emotions.
Oh yeah.
So that's definitely cool. Besides goals, is there anything else you wanna? Where would you like to travel to, or what would you like to do more in your free time?
One of my goals actually for sure would be like to travel to like with nursing involved. I want to travel and like help the more like vulnerable countries.
Mm-hmm.
Like give, some whatever it is, either through work or on my
Kind of
own
like the
with
Peace Corps
somebody.
type of
Yeah,
thing.
like just go out there and help, those that can't help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like just
Do you know what
provide
countries
any type
exactly,
of
or does it matter? Just anywhere
no,
that would need the help.
just anywhere that would need the help. Yeah, I don't
That's
have any
interesting.
countries in mind. I just want to go and
Just and go
help.
help.
Yeah,
That's pretty interesting. That would be
yeah,
crazy. A different experience for sure. Very
yeah.
humbling
Right.
and like,
Yeah.
high stress. But I'm sure like those people were very generous once you do help them though, because they don't have much help.
Right.
And they don't have much, so I'm sure they appreciate everything they get.
Yeah.
As far as hobbies go, besides we know you played basketball, what other hobbies do you have? Or wouldn't mind getting into?
I like anything that has to do outdoors, really. So like any hiking or like skydiving. I want to go skydiving. That's like one of my things that I want to do.
Yeah,
That's like
we
on
know
my
you like to
bucket
hike.
list.
You guys like to take me to kill myself.
Yeah, any activity outdoors, I love it. Like I just love.
Do you have anything on
outdoorsy
your bucket
environments.
list this year that you like to like knock out?
I want to travel. I want to travel, but I don't know where. Like just
so
for
Seattle's
fun.
on the
This
agenda
one's
then.
yeah.
So we have to make it happen this year.
Yeah, see, that's why I was like, why next year? Yeah,
Nice.
I want to travel for sure because I haven't really traveled anywhere.
I know, right? That's why we talk about that all the time. You guys
Yeah.
have to. You have to live a little. And it's fun. You see different things. You get motivated, inspired by different things. And I don't know, it's just interesting. You only live once, really. That's the thing. That's the thing that I try to tell myself. Like, I'm hard on myself when it comes to finances and comes to like I was telling you off air, like how I kind of want to just like tour now, and it's like I could have done that 10 years ago and not been scared and just go out there and do it. Like you have nothing to lose.
I feel like we just get so caught up in like our everyday life and our schedule that we really just gotta do it sometimes. Just do it.
For real,
Like
Nike
just
sign.
say, yeah.
Do you have any books that you've ever liked reading or anything that you've been wanting to read lately?
I did have, what was it called? I read a book not too long, well, last year, I guess. Well, I didn't read it. It was an audiobook.
Oh, that's still fine.
Yeah.
That still works.
Yeah.
It's content and you're soaking it up.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It was about basketball and not Relentless.
Nice.
Relentless is a really good book.
Do you know who wrote that?
I would recommend. Tim Grover.
Tim Grover.
Yeah, that's a really good book.
Relentless by Tim Grover.
Yep.
And what are your favorite movies or cartoons?
I like just about anything. Disney, scary, funny. I like everything. No, there's none that I don't really like.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much open to anything you see.
Anything.
What genres of music do you like?
Everything as well, except country. I like some country.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't.
But
yeah, everyone says that, but then you put a nice country song on, like, I like this.
No, I really didn't. I wouldn't listen to country at all before I met my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we met, he was a big country fan. And he started dedicating songs to me. So then I kind of started to like some songs from country, but it depends what country
Do you
artist.
Do you play video games?
Yes. So when you guys come over.
You guys gotta see how ridiculous
when you guys
she
come
is
over.
when we play Mario Kart on the Switch. It's wild.
Oh, I become a different person.
Yeah, she's calling us all kinds of names I never heard before, pretty much. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
So, with everything you've learned in life and everything, like, and as you're continuing to grow and build as a human being, like, how do you feel like about being a parent? Like, if that time comes and when that does come, like, what's your goals as far as like becoming a parent and becoming someone that like you're now a provider for somebody.
Yeah.
Like a little mini you. Like what do you feel like things that you would do different or similar to your parents, and how would you go about raising them?
I think just going from the experience of my parents and just knowing in general, like going through classes in college that, talk about like the mental health and of like a child starts like really young, like anything that you say or do to them really can influence their future. So I feel like definitely I'll take some things from what my parents did, and then some not some some I wouldn't do, but I would definitely at this, like right now, I don't want any kids just because I just started that job and I want to get situated and comfortable. So I'm in a couple years maybe, but yeah, I would definitely, one of the things that my parents always engraved in me is like family and unity and just, helping whenever possible, no matter what the circumstances, like even if that's your last piece of bread, like helping showing my kids that aspect of life and just how to be, kind to people, and you never know what others are dealing with.
Yeah.
That kind of mentality. And yeah, as far as like that's just something that pops in my head, like firsthand, like teaching my kids on
that's crazy too. Is like one thing I learned from my mom is like she'll give even if she didn't have to her last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She'll take our last out of the cabinets and give that to somebody in need or someone less fortunate. And she would do that often. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that I learned is like my mom was very generous. And it sucks because sometimes when you see generous people or people who are always willing to give, there's always people out there that are willing to take advantage of that too. Yes. And that's one thing that I hated because I had to learn the hard way. And I've been one to do that a lot too, and it sucks because it's like I kind of look at it both ways. I ain't mad at people who are selfish. It's just like, that's you, dude. Do you? Yeah. But I couldn't be like that. But then I see people who are too generous or too nice to people, and then they just get walked all over, and it's like, yeah, you got to mix it up a little bit. A little salt and sugar. Yeah. A little bitter, but a little sweet. Because if you do too much one or the other, you're falling off like that.
Yeah, that's my dad for sure, too.
Are they passing the chocolate down to you?
I don't... I definitely experienced that, but I hope I don't pass down the chocolate.
I just wanna be able to look at my kid and they know, like,
right,
oh,
exactly,
shit.
exactly.
He means business.
Yes.
Yeah, and they just stay frozen right there.
Yeah, like, I need to lower my voice and be like, you need to stop.
Yeah, that's when you get scared.
And then that's when they know, scared, like, oh, snap, she is serious.
Or you just smile like a crazy smile. You just be like, you're gonna stop. Just like scare them real quick.
Yeah.
So we'll get into this, like being newly married, like what would you say, like honestly, or if you want to, like what are some of the challenges you face being married younger, or some of the good things about being married? Because I know for one, you guys are a huge support system in everything you do, and that's what's dope. A lot of people are like happy being single and happy being like doing their own thing, which they're totally fine with, but seeing a support system like that, it's dope because it's like you guys are both getting your education, both pursuing something, and it's like a sponge. You guys both soak off each other and push each other to go further. So how's that?
It's been great to me. Like people always say like, oh, like things are gonna change after marriage, It's like, no, I don't personally think it always, has to be that way. We have like the respect and love and commitment to our own goals as we do for each other. So I think that helps a lot. And just the support, like when I was having shitty times during school, like he was there for me. And, and if he's having a bad day, I'm there for him. Like, it's just, I feel like that's what
It's
any
all about. Yeah,
relationship
you just
really,
don't
you
want
know?
to. You don't want to ever lose the respect.
Right.
That's the thing my
Yeah.
grandma always said. Like, don't ever fight and don't lose respect for each other, because once you
Yeah.
lose respect for each other, it kind of goes downhill in a sense where it's like you just stop.
Mm-hmm.
You stop trying and you stop like giving the full effort, because you're not gonna
Yeah.
always be on your best behavior or your best 100% you and like 100% like. It's funny. It's a funny thing, like when you first meet someone and then you guys are like the butterflies and
Yeah.
the lovey-dovey and all that puppy love stuff. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
It's like crazy at first, and then it kind
Right.
of like fades, and you're just like, "Whoa, what?"
Well,
but it's
see,
like,
that's the thing though. Like I feel like you know, why does it have to stop? Like why do date nights have to stop?
and it
Why
doesn't.
do, you know, like it doesn't have to
Yeah,
stop. Like you could just keep it going, you know?
And that's what makes it interesting, though.
Yeah.
Constantly trying to. It's funny, like the thing is, and that's what I tell people. It's like the stuff you did when you were like trying to win each other over.
Right.
Why
like,
don't you do that every now and then? And then you hit them with that, and they get so surprised, like,
Yeah.
damn, dude, like
Yeah.
this was like random, you know. And it's funny because
But
when you
it's
do
true.
it's those. The people think sometimes, like a lot of people, it's like some people think it's finances, some people think it's looks, or it could be a million things, but honestly it's the little things you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the little simple stuff, like write a
Yeah.
little note or like a little
Right.
letter you used to do, or
Yeah.
go out like you said on a date, or just
Yeah.
surprise them with like something so random, and it doesn't
Right.
take much, doesn't cost much, but
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like people that really love and really care and are like interested in always trying to do new things or keep it fun,
Mm-hmm.
you can do the most simplest thing or most
Yeah.
basic thing and make it like interesting and keep it current and keep it relevant.
Yeah.
But that's what's funny. I think people feel like it'll fade or go away, but you don't. It really doesn't have to. And
Mhm.
especially if you could laugh with the person or joke or be goofy, be like your full self with that person.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you really don't need anything else at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because like if they could handle you in your worst, then they
Oh,
could
yeah.
handle you in your best for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and we all have our days though.
Yeah.
So
For
that's
sure.
good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, that was interesting. And I'm really like I said, I'm really glad you came today.
Thanks.
and,
Thanks for inviting me.
You know, after talking to you and seeing and knowing you, it's like, you know, you're big on family, you're big on communication, you're big on helping others, and that's, to me, that's why I do this. Like that's why I tell people stories and help them just promote themselves and be a part of this community that I'm building, because I feel like everyday life people are important to me. Whether you're just from a basic person and you're happy with having the basic necessities, or you want more and more and more, and you know you're not satisfied until you reach the peak of your own satisfaction, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's, to me, it's important that people get their story heard and they feel comfortable, they feel confident, they feel like they're in control of themselves, and they're just trying to grow and build. And that's really why I do this, and I do it
Yeah.
for people like you and your husband and friends of mine and families, because I feel like everybody has a story, and I feel like they need to get it out. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how many followers you have, or how big of a fan base or following you got, or you know how important you are in the world or whatever, or how others may view you. It's really the story and who you are as a person. And
Yeah.
you know, it's important, because I think that, you know, we can talk about the stars and we could talk about popularity or this or that, but none of that matters.
No,
It really matters who's impacting lives and who's really helping heal people, you know, and that's a big thing. There's people that can do it mentally, spiritually, or through, you know, talking to people and helping them with mental health, but
Yeah.
being able to do both physically, mentally, spiritually, and just helping people overcome obstacles, that's like an important part of everything. And
Yeah.
I feel like you definitely have that, and you know, you're continuing to push that and push the envelope, and being that you're a first generation Mexican American in your family, it's not easy, you know, and you have like a lot of obstacles that you have to face and a lot of things you got to overcome. And for people listening, that's definitely motivation and inspiration, because people don't, you know, some people
Yeah.
just like bank on making excuses or saying that they can't or whatever, and you're living proof that that's like, you cannot live to be another stereotype or live to be
Right.
another statistic. And that if you just, and it just takes a little bit of a push, it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It just takes a little bit of the normal, that like you have to get out of your comfort zone. And once you get out of your comfort zone, you know, you
Yeah.
shake up your world a little bit, and then you start pushing forward in whatever it is you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So again, I
sure.
want to thank you. Let people know where they could follow you, and say hi or like your poster or whatever.
So I'm on Instagram as JENNXXII, Roman numeral 22, my basketball number.
There
if
you
anyone
go.
cared to know.
There you go. I was wondering what that was for. See,
Yeah, there you go. Roman
there you
numeral
go. So
22.
Instagram, right? That's where they can follow you.
Instagram, yeah.
Cool. Well, this is episode 14 of So Disconnected podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. You had your guest, Jennifer Alvarez-Cardenas, in the building. I'm when Tony writes. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Peace. Yo, it's When Tony Writes. You're listening to So Disconnected podcast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at So Disconnected. Tap the link in our bio to select the platform of your choice. We are also available on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, the Stitcher Radio app, TuneIn Radio app, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.